Hi everyone, welcome to this week. It's only Sunday, but I thought I wanna share nature with you. So this is the state of the woods in Sweden right now. We haven't had snow here yet, but we have, it's below 0 Celsius, so it's freezing. And you know how when you go into the woods and you're like, oh, I want there to be peace and quiet, and you're like, yeah, that's nice, and then you get there and there's a lot of people, and it kind of at first made me feel like, ugh, people, and then I was like, but that's actually quite nice because there are so many animals in the woods right now, like moose and wild boar, and yeah, mainly those two. And there's no way I'm gonna stumble upon one like I did a couple of weeks ago with this noise. No way. So that kind of feels good actually. So yeah. Let's see if I can show you around a little bit. So this is the woods, and then there's like these. I never walk on these because they're so slippery. They must have been put here when there was like water on the sides or something. But yeah, so these are the Swedish woods at the moment. Some like frost, we call it, on the moss, and yeah, it's nice to just be out in the woods, but we can still hear the roads though, because this is the suburbs. So yeah, I don't live that far away from the big city of Stockholm, so there's not complete silence anywhere. Maybe when me and my dad go to the nature preserve areas, there's silence, as good as it gets anyway. So I'm gonna keep going, and I'll see you soon. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Caspian and I read a lot of books, and we are here today to talk about books and celebrate the second Sunwait. So these are my candles, and if you want to know more about Sunwait, I will link somewhere here, there I think, so that you can know a little bit more about what I'm doing. And so this is the second Sunwait. So I had a video last week as well, where I started this celebration. So I'm gonna light the candles, and I'm gonna tell you all what I'm gonna do today. So the first candle is Ur och Rurus. All of the candles have, all the candle holders in my case have a rune on them. So I'm gonna show you today's rune, or this week's rune is Tush or Thurisas, the second of Sunwait. So this is it. So let's see if I can fit everything. Yeah. Okay, so I love celebrating Sunwait. I love waiting for the winter solstice, counting down every week up until the winter solstice, because that's what it's all about. So every week, every Thursday up until the winter solstice, we light a candle, and on the winter solstice we light all of the 6 candles and celebrate the winter solstice. It is a new Nordic practice, or I don't know if I want to call it Nordic, but it's a new heathen practice, because even though it emanated from the Nordic practice with the runes, I think everyone all over the world can do it. And it's simply about reclaiming the waiting up until the winter solstice and waiting for the sun, as in the shining sun's return, and not the sun as in the child. You know, getting away from that religious aspect of celebrating this time of year. So with my celebration, I light a few candles a couple of times during the day, because I have already been up since 6:10 this morning is when my alarm went off, and I have celebrated with lighting candles and guiding through a meditation with the second rune on my Patreon. So I did that this morning at 7 a.m. in Swedish time. So now it's closer to 10 in the morning. And I am here again with my candles and my books. Alrighty. So in this video, and I also have some saffron. These are my matches, but I have some saffron buns. So instead of cinnamon buns, it's saffron because of the time of year. And in this video, I will share with you the books I have finished in the last week. So this is the reading update video. And then I will tell you about my current read. And then I will open the second book package of the 6 that I have attached to this Sunwait. So I have a Sunwait calendar with books inspired by blind date with books. So a couple of years ago, there was a lot of people on here on YouTube, on BookTube, that did this blind date with books. And I was like, yeah, sounds like a good idea, but I don't have the money to put on that kind of thing on a book that I don't know if I'm going to enjoy at all. Just, you know, pick a book from the genre or a few words. New books is, you know, new books that I don't know anything about. It's not within my budget. So and it's nothing really I would like to spend money on anyway, because you know, it feeds into that consumer culture, and I prefer to read books from the library and books from secondhand. So this year I picked books from my own shelves that are mostly from bought secondhand in some way. Some are from secondhand bookstores or secondhand shops or antique, and I have a couple or a few from antique stores, including the one that I opened up last week and have read this week. And then there are a couple of newer books from authors that I know, that I love, and I, you know, like auto buy authors. I have very few of those. I have like one or two. Mostly I have auto read. Like if they come out with something new, I'm the first one at the library, first one in line, and being like, excuse me, are you gonna buy this so that I can read it? So that's kind of how it all started for me. So last year I was inspired by blind date with books, and last year I bought all of my books in August at the secondhand stores, and all of the books had a winter or a holiday theme, and I tried that out, and with a mixed result. It was a 50-50 if I liked them or not, I would say, because I focus on the theme of the book. But all the books cost me like 10 or 20 crowns, which is like 1 or 2 pounds. So for this year, as I said, I chose books for my own shelves. And I had my partner wrap for me, so he got control of my TBR jar. He pulled titles from that, and then he went to my shelves, and then he wrapped them when I didn't look. And yeah, those are the ones. So I have the second one here, and I'm gonna open that at the end, towards the end of this video. So we're gonna be here a little while. Now in November and December, my Thursday videos are those are the videos I film. If there are other videos coming up in between, they will be filmed ahead, or you know, videos that I have sat on and haven't had time to edit yet, or something like that. I know there's one video waiting for me to edit it at least. So, where do we start? We start with the reading update. So, what have I been doing for the last week? This is what I've been doing, but don't fret, I will not speak of them all. because yeah, you're gonna find out. So I will actually start like from the back or whatever. So the last book I tried to read was this one, Glorious Rivals. So I loved the Inheritance games, the first 3 books. This is the second book in a spin-off series called The Grandest Game. And I read The Grandest Game like 3 months ago. And when I started reading this book, I realized 2 things. One, I'm not sure I like it. Because what I enjoy with the Inheritance games books are the game aspect. And in the first trilogy, that are called the Inheritance games books, in those 3, there are romance spiraling, you know, in the background, and you know, but it's interwoven with the story in a really good way, and it didn't take anything away from the gaming aspect or the games and the riddles and puzzles and all of that I find fun in those books. In the first book of this spin-off series, The Grandest Game, I did find that the spiraling romance overtook a lot in the story. And I remember, so when I started reading this one, I remembered, because it starts out with the female love interest and her perspective in this book. And I was like, oh, right, I didn't enjoy this part. So that kind of, you know, made me a bit standoffish towards this book at the very beginning of it. And then I read a few more pages and I was like, I don't remember anything. I realized that I just remember bits and pieces of The Grandest Game. And it was too long ago for me to just jump into this book without any recap. So, and I also knew that the next book in this series is gonna come out next summer of 2026. So I was like, I think I'm just going to pause this, like soft DNF. And when the third one comes out, I will sit with myself and I will ask myself, do I want to continue this series? And if so, do I, you know, I would need to reread The Grandest Game and read all of the 3 books in one go probably. And so I will save that for next summer and see where I'm at. Most likely the answer is gonna be nah. So we'll see about that. So that's the story of this one. And it's so, because I've been waiting for this for 3 months or something from the library, because there's been a queue on it. There's still a queue on it. So I'm gonna return this as soon as possible for the next person in line to get it. So that's what happened with Glorious Rivals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And then I had another book on my TBR for this month by her, which I thought was the third book in the series, which is not. It is not. I am so confused. I am so confused. But this seems to be like a collection of short stories and novellas that kind of... I think it came out between the Inheritance Games and the Grandest Games, between those two. Because people had been waiting for like solutions or something. So I think there might be even like a smaller version of the romance between the female love interest in Glorious Rivals and the Hawthorne person involved in that in this book. I'm not sure. But when I read what this was about, I understood that it was mostly about... It felt like it had like the same kind of focus, like the romance and the relationships. So there was a few stories in. I think I'm going to look through this before I am going to the library next time and see if there's one or two stories I would like to read, because I do enjoy... There was supposed to be like a book, one story about Xander in this one, and then another one that kind of intrigued me. So I might read those, but I'm not gonna read the entire thing. I'm not gonna read the entire thing because I am not intrigued by the romance aspect of the Inheritance Games. I don't think that, or I do think that after the Inheritance Games trilogy, the author doesn't really portray the romance aspect in a way that I find appealing. It's not for me. I want the games and the puzzles and the mysteries. So, 2 large books down. By the way, this is how I eat my rolls. I roll them. I roll them and I eat. I don't know how you do it, but that's the right way to do it. So, and then, so the first book that I finished this week was one that I was currently reading last week. And that is Finale by Caraval. I finished this one and I really enjoyed this one. I think this was top tier. I really enjoyed this one. It was a little bit hard to get into, but it's always for me when it's been a while since I read the book before. It takes a while for my brain to kind of, you know, find its way again, like the cogs, the wheels are turning and they're like, ah, okay. So when I hit that spot, we're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm in. Then I really enjoyed this one. So this is the third book in the series, or the trilogy, and this is the finale. So I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I would like to say that Julian, I am a stan, I am a fan, a super fan. You are my favorite person in this entire universe so far. Just want you to know that. And yeah, I think this one wrapped it up really good. I think I really enjoyed the entire story, and I think the author managed to give all of the characters, which are Legend, Tella, Scarlet and Julian, those 4 characters, main characters. I think the author managed to give them all equal screen time or page count or word count or whatever. It felt really well balanced, and there's nothing hanging, and I really love that. There's nothing I would have wished were different or anything like that. It was really intriguing, and it had a couple of twists and turns when I was like, what the... Oh. And towards the end, I was sitting here having a different emotion every other page. Or so it felt like. So, I really enjoyed this. I actually would like to own this trilogy and read it again. And I am so happy... After reading this, I'm so happy that I own the Once Upon a Time trilogy. so I can hop into that one at my earliest convenience. So yeah, 4.5 stars for this one. And I think the half star off is just because I know that I enjoyed the first book, I think, way more, even more. So I was like, I think maybe this will get a 5 star in time. It's closing in on it. It's like 4.75 at this moment when I'm thinking about it. Because it just made me have all the feels. And one thing that was really cleared up in this book, I know that people, when talking about Caraval and the second book that I don't remember what, Legendary. I know people have been when reading about those or reading those, people here on BookTube have talked about whether or not the author has something, I don't really know what it's called now, but when you like smell colors and see feelings and that sort of thing, you know, there is something with there's like a condition. I think it sounds like a wonderful gift, to be honest, but because there's so many descriptions of that sort in these books, so people have been like, does the author have this and uses it in the books because it comes natural to her, or you know, why is it so descriptive in that way? And my opinion is that gets its explanation in this book. It really, there's a moment in this when I went, oh, that makes sense. So I'm not gonna spoil what it is, but if you have read this one, then let me know if you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I really think that one was like, and when it was revealed, I was like, mwah, love it, makes so much sense. And I if that was actually intentional, I hope it was like an intentional choice, then the beauty of having it from the first book and weaving it into the story in the way that she did really makes me in awe of the writing and the foreseeing, like the ability to, then it really makes me feel like the author had all the 3 books in her head from the beginning, and then, you know, built it up and really planned all of the books together. I love when authors do that, like they have the entire book, the entire series or trilogy kind of mapped out so that they really put things in the right places. I think A Good Girl's Guide to Murder is another good example of that happening, when it's evident that the author was really good at mapping out everything so that it was kind of planted in the first book. Things that happen in the last book, and it all just wraps up in a really good way. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Okay, so the last book I'm going to talk about that I read this week was the first book of my Sunwait calendar. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, a Swedish translated edition from 1957. And oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. So, if you've read this book, can I like, I would like to have like a something to put it on. So, okay. If you read this book, then you know how many times they use the N-word. And it's not just that, there was a lot of things that I was like, I went into this book knowing this edition is from 1957. The book was first written in 1880, something like that. and with that, knowing that the language use in this book was gonna be less than desirable. So I went into the book knowing that and kind of being like, okay, I have to overlook all of these things. And the language use was actually something that I had to pause a lot of the times and turn to my partner and be like, can you believe this? Listen to this. And then I read parts of it to him. That was it's, you know, today it's hilarious the way that some of the ways that they spoke, but knowing the history and, you know, trying to put oneself in the position and in the time, it just breaks your heart. So I kind of went between those two emotions of, and in the middle feeling like, can I laugh? Is it okay to laugh at this, you know? So that was a thing. And I think I'm very used to things having a purpose. And this book starts with the author, I think it's the author, there's a prologue by another person, the translator, but then it says to note, and I'm gonna translate this, so I'm sorry if I'm translating it back into English from Swedish and it sounds weird. I'm sorry about that if that is the case. But it says it here, to note, people that tries to find an intention with this story will be charged. People that will try and find some kind of moral in this story will be banned. People that tries to find a storyline in this story will be shot. so going into the book knowing that the author, and it says by orders from the author. So that made me go into this book thinking, okay, there's no purpose, there's no story, there's no real story. It's just like a what's the word? In Swedish we call it levnadsskildring. It's just the adventures of Huckleberry Finn, right? Okay, I need to go into this with a slower mind, and I realized quite quickly that I had to kind of slow the pace of my mind after reading finale, because it wasn't, there's no high stakes in that way. The stakes change and they go up and down with the book, because of the fear of getting caught, because they are on the run and that sort of thing, Huck and Jim. So I when reading it, I had to kind of push myself through it, because it's rather slow, and it just wasn't really for me. It's hard to describe, because there were aspects I really enjoyed. I think me and Huck would be friends. I really enjoyed the concept of the book, but the execution wasn't really to my liking. And in the prologue, the translator says that the book is deemed like middle grade or like for children, but that he doesn't agree. That a lot of the book is more adult content, and this was written in 1957. So I mean, the view of what was deemed adult and child content was a bit different back then. So I don't agree with him. I don't agree with the translator, because I think this is very much a middle grade book, and I am not really often a fan of middle grade books. There are a few that I enjoy, one of them being Howl's Moving Castle, but I did not enjoy the other two in that trilogy as much as the first book. I really truly only enjoyed the Howl's Moving Castle, that book in that trilogy. And then there are books from my childhood that I still enjoy reading them again and again and again, because they were part of my childhood and kind of formed my identity and was a part of me escaping into another world where I could be myself during a childhood where I couldn't be myself. So those have meaning to me. This book feels like a book that could have had meaning to me if I would have read it when I was like 11, 12, 13. It could have been really impactful. So that is when I wish I would have read it. And that is what I would recommend to, like, if my friends were like, oh, my son or daughter or my child wants to read Huckleberry Finn, or I think they should, but do you think it's a good idea? Then I would say, yeah, but you need to have a conversation about the language and about the history behind it and the culture around it, so that they understand that those words are not, they don't have the same meaning today as they did then, and they carry very much weight, so they can't use them just because they're in the book. Like, I would have a discussion like that, but I would still be like, yeah, if the child is maybe earliest 10, and then 11, 12, 13, 14, maybe 15, that would be a time when someone could enjoy the book. And that is based on my own experience with this book this time. And then, that is kind of the main reason why, no, it's the nicest reason why I didn't really enjoy the book. Because I was drawn to the concept of the book. And I could see myself enjoy the pacing of a book that was adult. Like the same pacing of a book, but adult, maybe. So now I'm going to get to the part where that I really didn't enjoy, and I have very personal feelings towards Tom Sawyer. It feels so harsh to say that I just don't like that kid. He's just not for me. I think when I was younger, I would have maybe enjoyed his antics and his ability to fantasize and make everything bigger and everything more fun, and I would have maybe been inspired by it when I was 12. Now, as a full-grown adult person, full-grown man, I'm like, ugh. All of the chapters with Tom Sawyer, I was like, can they just get him out of that prison already? You don't have to make such a big deal out of it. Huck doesn't want to make a big deal out of it. Why are you insisting on all of these things? I was really this annoyed adult, just not understanding the choices of a child. And I felt so sorry for the auntie in this story. I don't even remember her name now. I feel so sorry for her. So the last few pages are like the last quarter of the book that contains Tom Sawyer and the prison break and that sort of thing. I was just like, just reading to get to the end. So that is kind of what drew it down to only 2.5 stars. And I'm being nice. I'm being really nice. Because I was like, before that it was a 3-star. It was like some people say, a solid read. Even though it wasn't my favorite of all times. And I could understand why, because of all the things I've said. And then Tom Sawyer entered and I was like, no, not enjoying this one bit. So going forward, I have learned that I don't want to read the Adventures of Tom Sawyer. So I think that will be, you know, not to my liking. But I might want to read the book about Jim or James. I'm gonna look up the comments from my previous video and see exactly what that book was called, and I'm gonna look that up and put it on my want to read list, because that feels like something I could be into, reading from James' perspective. So yeah, I think that's what I've learned about reading this classic. I will keep it. I didn't annotate it in the way, but I would not annotate a book from the 50s, you know. I bought this at like an antique shop, so I will not do that. But what I did do, I tabbed. So the best part about this edition was the illustrations, because it's illustrated by Erik Palmqvist. I think it's a Swede. So this is like the first illustration of Jim and Huck at the first page, and then so there was really nice illustrations. So I really enjoyed that. Towards the end, I really enjoyed when they took up a whole page. There was like one less page to read. So yeah, that's Huckleberry Fame. We will see what I have to say about that in my wrap-up. I'm going to do a wrap-up of both November and December and all of the Sunwait books in the beginning of January. That's what I feel right now. I'm gonna just draw those together in one wrap-up. So now we've come this far. What am I reading right now? Well, after Huck, I felt a bit slumpy, and then I tried to read Glorious Rivals, and I was like, no. So I haven't picked up another book, because that was 2 days ago. I haven't picked up another book from my TBR or anywhere else, because I was like, I'm gonna open a new package today, so I could start that right away instead. But I do have a book club book that I'm reading, and that is, I showed you this last week as well. I'm probably gonna show it to you all the way through. all of these videos, Thursday with videos. So it's the When the Wood Sang by Stina Gray, and it's a book club book for a Swedish book club, you know, I host on Fable. It's called When the Wood Sang, Returning to the Singing Earth. And this is a book with a collection of stories. It's not like a novella collection or something like that, a short story collection in that sense. It's Stina is a storyteller and ethnologist with roots in Sweden and New Zealand. She is passionate about the healing and rewilding power of storytelling and loves to share the magic, wonder and wisdom of story and myth with all ages. And this is a book where she's basically, I think this was her project for when she was at university. And she traveled around Sweden, meeting people that have a deep connection to the earth and to animistic or shamanistic or other types of practices that connects them to the earth and nature and the spirits of nature and the earth. And one of those people being me. So I'm interviewed in this book. So I'm one of many. I'm just saying. So it has 9 chapters, and each chapter has a theme. And I was in the first chapter called The Lore of the Land, and I was interviewed about my connection with nature and how I spend time in nature with the spirits of nature. And I am now in the middle of the second chapter, which is called Hel, and it's all about the goddess Hel and her connection to the earth and people's connection to her. And in this chapter, Stina talks about Hel and the translation of that word, which is whole, and to be whole. And whole as in all, and this goddess connection to life and death. And I'm actually also filming a reading vlog for my other channel when I'm reading this book, so I talk more about that there. So I'm in the middle of the second chapter. I had the ambition to finish the second chapter for today, to be like on track. I still have the ambition to finish the third chapter by next Thursday, and that chapter is Initiation. And the story in that is Princess Two Star and the Forest Tarn, and then also St. George and the Dragon, and a few. I think there's two interviews in that one. So yeah, it's really been amazing, and I can really resonate with a lot of the other people in this that have been interviewed and their stories. And it's so funny because it's funny because as a shamanic practitioner in Sweden, in the Nordic, I have heard about and oftentimes met some of these people. So I haven't heard about all of them. Some of the names are new to me, but most of the names I have heard, and some of the people I have met. So it's really fun to really read their story, because, you know, when I meet someone in a ceremony or in another, sometimes I think some of the people I just met like at fairs or markets or something like that, and they're like, "Oh, hi Koala, how are you doing?" And I have been following them, and they have been following me, and we have mutual acquaintances and that sort of thing. And we just, you know, so it's interesting and wonderful to get their story, and at least a part of their story, because we get to know what they do and what like their connection, and if they are like herbalists or anthropologists, or you know, there's one person in here that is he's a Gode, and a Gode is kind of a priest in a heathen religion here in Sweden called like a congregation called Fornsed, so ancient tradition or path. So he's a Gode, he's kind of a Nordic shamanic priest in that congregation. And it's interesting to learn about people's past and how they, you know, who they are on a deeper level than just, "Hi, how are you? I follow you on social media," or "Hi, how are you? Last time I saw you was in this ceremony and we just said hi and we shared energies, but we haven't shared anything else." So yeah, it's really an interesting book. I'm really enjoying this so far. So I have all of November and December to read it. I also tab, but I also annotate this one because I'm gonna keep this forever. Let's be honest, I'm gonna keep this forever. But I use like a mild liner yellow, so it's really faint yellow highlighting, and then yellow tabs mostly. And then I tab up here when there are like mentions of other books that one can be interested in. So for instance, the Gode I was talking about has a book in Swedish called Jordens Ande. The translation would be Spirit of the Earth, that came out in 2017, and I was like, I'm gonna look that up. So that's what I'm reading right now. So I feel like this video is gonna be very long, so let's end this by opening up the second. So my partner that wrapped these, he also chose in which order I will open them, and I have no idea what this is. There's one book that I searched for on my shelves like a few days ago, and I was like, did I not buy this? Did I leave it at the secondhand bookstore? Am I stupid? So I think that book is one of these that he has wrapped, because I think I really bought it. It's that story from a turtle's perspective or something. I don't remember the title of it. I came across the title in English and I was like, I have that in Swedish, I think. Don't I? So maybe it's this one. Probably not. But maybe. We'll see. Intuition check. Intuition check. This was the one I was looking for. Oh, I wanna cry. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. This is exactly the one I wanted. Oh, this is exactly what I want to read right now. I think I need a moment. I'm so happy. I think I want to cry. I feel so happy for owning this. I think I want to cry. Oh my, I wasn't prepared to cry. This is what happens when I haven't had enough sleep. Okay. So this was the book I was thinking about. It's by Russell Hoban, called... let's see what the English title is. The Swedish is Sköldepadds dagbok. I wasn't prepared to be this happy and joyful. Okay, let's see. Where is it? Turtle Diary. Is that it? Turtle Diary. It's from 1975, but this edition is from 1987. It's really old. And this is printed in 1991. So the edition is originally from 1987 and it was republished in 1991. It's also as an audiobook in Swedish at the library, I'm presuming, because they don't call it. So in Sweden we have a word for audiobook that is ljudbok. It's literally audiobook, ljudbok. But in this book they use the old term that they only have at the library nowadays, talbok, which is translated to like speaking book or speech book. So, and most often is for people with impaired hearing, I think. Oh my. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Okay, let's see if I can say this. Okay, so about the author first. Russell Hoban is born in 1925 in the USA, but when this was published, so not now, but when this was published, because he was born 100 years ago, so I would be elated if he was still alive. But it says when this was published, he was living in England. He has published numerous children's books. The most famous ones is about the badger. The badger. I don't know what a badger baby is called in English, but Polly is her name. He's also written several adult novels, so this is glorious. I'm so. Well, what if I don't enjoy it? What if I don't enjoy it? I feel so happy right now. What if I don't enjoy it? It's about 206 pages in this edition, so. Turtle Diary. Oh, I can't believe it was the one I was missing, and I was like, did I not bring this home? And here it is. I'm so happy. I will find time to start this today. I really will. I really will. Look at that face. Look at that face. Don't you just want to engage and just be like, "Aw, hi, sweetie." So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. 200 pages. I'm gonna eat this up. Hopefully. Let's hope. Oh, and it was actually published in the 70s, so there's an ISBN number. This book doesn't have an ISBN number. So I think in one of my previous videos I was talking, or with someone here on BookTube, I was talking about the fact that I have a hard time finding the right edition on Goodreads. when I choose a book, and I now my throat is getting sore, and I start speaking Swedish like this, like Swinglish, for some reason. So anyway, I was talking to someone about the fact that I have a hard time finding the right edition. I only seem to find one when I search, and then that person said you can use the ISBN number to search for the right edition. I was like, great, I'm gonna do that. And then this is published in the 50s, and we didn't get ISBN numbers in Sweden for Swedish editions until the 70s. So I was like, well, okay. So I had to add this myself in an app that I'm using, and I had to use a random edition on Goodreads. They didn't even have a Swedish translation that I know of. So imagine my surprise when I was like, I'm gonna use the ISBN number. You know, where is it? And I googled, and it was like, Sweden didn't get them until the 70s. Okay, thank you. So this one has an ISBN number. Marvelous. Let's end on this happy note. And I wish you happy reading. See you next week. Tjingeling.